It's been a while since I've laughed hysterically. So Cignal Ultra, their third pickup now, John TNC. Of course, they did go for that Whitemon Enchantress. Now we again see Whitemon on this hero. It is one of his signature heroes, and he does tend to just secure the lane for whoever he's laning with, which of course will be Gabby. And it's going to be important he does do so as well, because now Gabby is going to be up against an off-lane Slardar, which is not very fun.
No, it's really not. The lockdown the Slaughter brings out is really potent. The chain stun potential, even a dual lane of Snapfire Slaughter is just so scary. Cookie into
Right.
Slitherine Crush, and if you've primed your Bash of the Deeps, just such long lockdown. Not a fun time for the Faceless Void. Cignal has some potential here to play fast. Um, a lot of work you have to put in here for TNC, as you mentioned. Whitemon's gonna have to pick up the pace with his Enchantress. Now, Cignal Ultra going for the Slaughter as well sort of enables these physical cores. I'm eyeing the PA now, whether or not Signal Ultra wants to pick that up. And I was catching a few Filipino tournaments in that downtime. Abat has been playing some of that PA, and this Slaughter has been something Signal Ultra has been really liking. But they also have this Venge. They don't have the option for Drow. So I think it should be a fairly straightforward PA. It's the PA into Faces Voido, which can be back and forth, and you can see TNC, they do pick up the Mars. So you don't have natural Snapfire combos here. No Faces Void, no Mars. It's on the opposite side.
So that should be the offlane Mars for KP. Generally, they do leave Armel's hero till the last pick, so can expect Armel to be picking up that last pick mid for himself. Cignal Ultra, they are still yet to pick up a safe lane core and a mid core themselves, so you'd imagine this should be the POS 1 here for Cignal Ultra, and it will be. Lifestealer comes out. Not a bad pickup into the Mars Void. Can be a little bit awkward if you do get stuck in the chrono, but overall, you know, once that's down, you should be okay. As you like to always point out, John, the infest bombs that are there. You've got the Slardar. It's going to be just your natural vehicle, in your own words.
Yep. What I love is we never see it often enough, Mike, but the three-way insertion. So it's Lifestealer into Slardar, and then Slardar gets gobbled up. You know, it's a double vehicle, which is always fun, but we never see it happen. Like the Snapfire gets axed, but you never see the Infest gobble up play. It's got to come out. I want to see it.
Okay.
I want to see it, man. The what do you want to call that? Express delivery or whatever. Just laying it on from a long distance would be great. We'll see if they can get that done. Still open as to what Signal Ultra wants to do with the snap, although it is looking like a pause 4 snap here. Going to be saving their mid pickups. Have some pretty potent RML heroes in the pool here for TNC. They didn't ban out the Kunkka. That's going to be such a straightforward pick. X Arrow, Chronosphere here for the Void. And you've got to watch out for that one for Signal Ultra. Oh, they banned out themselves?
By the way, John, one thing I never really pointed out to you, I did learn this a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
With the Snapfire Gobble Up, it's the only hero where if Io's relocating, you know when you relocate and you've got to come back after, what is it, 12 or 13 seconds? Yep. Snapfire is the only hero where if he gobbles you, or if she gobbles you up before you relocate, you won't be going back.
Oh.
Yeah? Only hero.
I have no clue if I want to ask you how you saw a Snapfire Ags with an IO. I don't know if I want to know. Do I want to know?
No, it wasn't a European game that I had to watch, but it was
okay.
She is the only hero that can do that. So
yeah, that's I mean, not an interaction you see often, but
it's pretty broken.
I guess that's something. Yeah, that's
completely
one way.
Broken.
Yeah, that it is. Still Signal Ultra. They've got this Underlord. So you do have a soft combo with Snap. Hit into kisses. Not amazing, but it's there. Now the question is mid Underlord?
Must be.
Mid Yeah, no. I mean, mid Slaughter is so old school. I'm talking about like Dota 1, right? Mid Slaughter all the way back. I don't know if you want that here. TNC it's a solid co-op game. There's nothing to stop you. Like there are some good stuns. Venge is your longest range stun. You have this route from Jamesy. But otherwise, Armel's got a lot of free reign to just jump in and out. Has to watch the rage from a bot, but there's some good opportunities to jump in and out here. Cignal Ultra, Really tanky draft, to be fair to them. Slardar, Lifestealer, Underlord in the front lines. Those are some beefy heroes. Once you start stacking the auras, might be a bit difficult to kill them off if you don't have the itemization on TNC.
Certainly. I think the one thing with that quad pickup for Armel, though, and I know you pointed out the fact that there's not really much to stop him from just blinking all over the place, but these Unlords, we've been seeing a lot of Atos rushes with the Unlord. So you combine it with the Pit of Malice, and it's essentially like, what is it, like a 4-second route? Because you know, Pit of Malice, Rod of Atos, Pit of Malice again. That could be problematic if Armel gets caught out by that. Assuming Jamesy, of course, does go for that kind of itemization, which, again, we have been seeing a lot with mid Underlord and even just offlane Underlord. But see if they do it, and see if Armel really cares when it does come out. Apart from that, though, John, you do seem to be favoring the TNC draft.
Yeah. Yeah, I think... I mean, there's opportunities here for Cignal. They do have a solid draft. I think the execution's where it's really important. There's a lot of pressure on the Slardar to make the plays here, and the Mars... No, the Mars isn't a positive side, of course. The Slardar needs to be the one that jumps in here. Underlord's not the playmaker hero. Lifestealer needs to be infested up. The Wid is support snap, of course. You can't expect Eris to have an easy ramp up into the Ags. So you're not going to expect the gobble up plays here. I just have a hard time seeing how Cignal jumps into these fights. You don't have natural mobility. Look at TNC. They've got a Void that can time walk. They've got this Blink on Armel. They can kind of set up angles for themselves without having to wait for blinks. And Cignal, they kind of have to just run up. Maybe you can get a good swap. Maybe you can play with a cookie. But it's going to be a challenging time as the game goes on to really start hammering in. They have to win these lanes out. Have to dominate with how tanky their frontliners are early on. If they can kind of get a 2K lead, 2 to 3K lead by 10 to 15 minute mark, I think you could be very happy if you're Cignal Ultra, but you have to put the work in to get to that point.
We'll see how long this pause lasts.
Here, kitty, kitty,
Very end of
kitty.
time after all.
Who wants
Yep.
cookies?
Lightmon.
Well, too bad.
Hopefully he reconnects pretty soon, and he does.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, I was
I think
thinking
that's
about-
just
Yeah,
I think that's just the mic adjustment for the karaoke mic.
I
He's getting ready.
actually.
love winning. I love winning.
That is such an annoying
Yeah, Tim's is
voice.
out.
Dad, it's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
not
Tim's is
fair.
gone. He's like, all right. He's done. Can't do it again. No more karaoke for Whitemon. Nobody can handle it. I was thinking the other day, John. I feel like the Wind Ranger Arcana got too much credit.
What do you mean?
Well, the Quap
Oh, you're still
Arcanus-
looking at the Quap.
It's
you're
so
simping
much
for
better.
Quap.
It's so
Simping
much
for
better.
Quap.
No, look, if you're gonna simp for Quap or Wind Ranger, it's an easy Quap choice. Easy.
Oh no, it's gonna start a war, Mike. Them's fighting words. Good
Valve agreed, dude, that they released the whole trailer for her. Wind Ranger didn't get anything. She got like a picture, and it was a terrible picture at that.
Oh, so rude. It's okay, Wind Ranger players. We're fine. Anime will save the day. I will never want to say that in stream ever again. Oh,
I have been watching a bit of anime recently, John. I must admit.
What was it? You mentioned this offhand before. Was it MHA? Was it My Hero Academia, or is it something
Yeah,
else?
yeah, that was it actually. Yeah, there was quite a few. I can't remember the names of them now. Actually, mustn't have been that good, but
That's fair enough. Good D ward from Grims. You know, setting themselves up mid. That's a pretty big ward to take. So they've got superior rune control and Cignal, and they do manage to just kind of trade even on rune stuff. So not too much excitement, but having the ward advantage in this mid lane, it's going to make it trickier for Armel to control those runes, which is always a hurting point for these kind of snowball mids, right? Quap wants to get there, wants to get the first bottle refill up once you've got it, and without the vision, it's just harder to get done. And oh man, that spam is annoying.
it is. It's a very annoying voice, that damn Enchantress. Surprisingly enough, Whitemon currently down at the bot lane though, so looking to maybe start off as a trial lane and see if he can pick up a kill, but he is going to TP. just go help out Gabby up at that top lane. And we kind of talked about that top lane. Snapfire and Slaughter. Pretty disgusting lane for Gabby to have to play against. Whitemon is definitely going to have to be present to make sure he can actually farm a bit.
Yeah, he is doing a good job of keeping Eris back. Right-click trades, you don't win out on Eris unless you commit that Scatter Blast. It's going to be a bit trickier. Still Whitemon for his part. As long as he gets one impetus hit off, zone out Eris, prevent Gabby from being harassed fully out, he should be fine. They are trading farm for now. Gabby is not really hurting just yet, but perhaps a level 2, level 3 spikes. When we start to see the cookie plays, that's when it could get dicey for TNC.
Certainly. So that mid lane, the one lane we haven't talked about yet, it is going to be Armel and Jamesy. Armel has opted to go for the Scream for now, and you wouldn't really mind seeing Armel just max out the Scream in this lane. So I don't think the Shadow Strike is going to do quite as much as you would hope. Perhaps with the Scream, at least you can just kind of flash farm at the point where you do just have to kind of ignore the lane because James's atrophy aura is going to probably be too much.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that less aggressive build, but looks like he does just want to make it a bit uncomfy for Jamesy. This is one hurting point for the Quap in this lane. Range is not that big. AoE, if that Firestorm is fairly wide enough that Jamesy can just apply pressure, but I think Armel just wants to be able to dish some damage back instead of focusing on wave clear, and constant Shadow Strike spam is one way to get through that innate tankiness of the Underlord. He doesn't necessarily have a good amount of magic because it's just the same amount as everyone else, so you can kind of zone him out in that sense.
Absolutely. Man, I'm gonna get started with the bashes over to Gabby. We can get very annoying as time goes on for that Void. Meanwhile, Mel looks like he just doesn't care for the Underlord. He's doing so much damage with that Shadow Strike, so well, there you have it. That's classic Armel, though. He is a very lane-dominant kind of mid-player. It does make it very hard for his opponents to feel comfortable in the lane. Looks like Jamesy probably is going to have to buy some more regen if this keeps up much longer. Armel is just going to keep giving it to him.
He does have his bottle up slightly earlier compared to Armel, but Armel should have his up fairly soon. Again, it's going to boil down to that power rune, where they do have a vision advantage here in Cignal. TNC is going to have to work double time to kind of snipe it out. You can already see Tim's just forcing Grims to play way behind the tower. So they're spacing out the supports here in the bot lane, giving KP more time to just farm. It's a Lifestealer versus Morris lane, but they're not too upset about that. And Tim's is just constantly killing off these couriers.
He does. He does that quite a bit, Tims. He just loves going after those couriers. He will get away with his life intact as well. The Venge not really able to stop him. Looking back to Armel, still having a free game, and Jamesy is extremely low on HP. We'll be able to get the salve off straight after the Shadow Strike damage does wear off. But it looks like the power runes are going to be secured. Tims does get the Invis rune down at the bot rune spot. And that's going to mean he has to be even more cautious now, because you have no idea where this arrow is going to come from Tims. In fact, Whitemon's even going to come in. There's your arrow. There's your blink in. They will get the first blood over to Tims on this Mirana.
Yeah, it's just the perfect rotation out, and that was always going to be the big spike for that mid lane. They did have a ward advantage. Cignal could not maximize it. First blood, giving this to Armel is huge. This is a snowball hero, the Queen of Pain. The Underlord is not, right? Like, it stands in lane, it's been making it hard for Armel, but all you will really do is farm. And even then, the jungle, look at Whitemon. He's just clearing out these camps in the triangle. There's no opportunity to stack, and you need to find some way to get those stacks up if you're Cignal Ultra right now.
Well, it's definitely a good way of doing it for Whitemon. You see Eris coming in for those 5-minute bounty runes. Would have loved to go for that stack. Can he at least get the bounty? No, he cannot. Whitemon will take it off him, and now we'll probably just kill him. Just straight up kills him.
Yeah, it's just when you have a good Enchantress player who's on the right part of the map, making these plays with the tomato creep, so much damage can fly in. Have to be cautious about that. We talked about the spike between Slardar Snap. We haven't seen them leverage that. Like, they've got the cookie, they've got the bash, they've got the Sliderine. They're just not able to make use of this time where Whitemon's gone. And Gabby's been really spacing himself out well. In fact, they're on the aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, why the hell not? impetus. He tried to fairy fire through it, but it's not going to work out. And this is why you'll see Whitemon on this Enchantress consistently over game after game after game, because he's just so darn good at this hero. Just rotates the perfect times, understands when there's an opening, and overall is just very annoying to play against.
Yeah, he's just all over the map, and again, they're just not able to capitalize on any of that movement. Now, they do manage to secure a ruin this time for Jamesy. So at least he does manage to grab away the Arcane. Armel's already on his way home, though. He knew he kind of lost out in that trade. But it's 0-3. TNC at 6 minutes in has a 2k lead, and I think Tims has killed like 3 or 4 couriers in this game alone at the 6-minute mark.
Tims does tend to do that, John. He enjoys it. It's a real problem with Tims. He does not like those couriers. Top lane, Chrono going to be committed. Gabby and Armel are going to be there with Whitemon and Fan. He knows he can't outrun them. He knows. He had to try. Armel doesn't even have the Sonic Wave leveled up yet. He just doesn't need it.
But I'm not maceless.
Oh man.
Gabby has continued to remind us, John, that he does have a mace.
Yeah, you see, this is why Faceless Void needed to win that vote, Mike. We could have had Faceless Rex as an actual hero.
I
maybe,
agree.
or Faceful Void. Who would not want a huge head just running at you? That's actually terrifying. Imagine it time walking in and he's just gone.
Mid lane Tims not going to get stunned up by the cookie. Is going to be alright to walk out of there. Jamesy is going to have a bit of a chase there over onto that Mirana. It's going to be just perfectly fine though, Tims, as it looks like Eris has been caught, cops an arrow, and is going to die to Whitemon once again. In fact, another ensnare comes out. Grims, he was trying to help. Maybe he still can, as Van is joining with Jamesy. They have caught out this pesky Enchantress, but Whitemon is still trying to run away. He just can't, but they get the trade onto Grims, as Tims will just leap and TP. Van, he has a stun. He couldn't make it in time.
Oh,
TNC, that they're putting on a clinic, John. They are putting on a clinic.
You see this with TNC a lot as well, right? Like, we used to talk about them being the gatekeepers of CA. In particular, when it comes down to a Filipino team versus Filipino team and TNC is on one of those sides, TNC just almost always seems to have their number. In Cignal, it's a rough start. 1-7, 3k lead now for TNC. A bot has been left alone down bot. He's top in last hits, top in that wort. So that is a consolation prize here for Cignal, but Armel is starting to scout out now, knowing that they've given a bit too much space here. A bot is rushing that armlet build, as you tend to see, for the life stealers. We'll see if that is going to help Cignal find some opportunities. Key target still here is Van's Blink. He's only got 800 gold in the bank. Still a long way off until you have that initiation tool on the side of Cignal.
The brighter side is that Abat is farming very well. That's the one consolation right now for Cignal Ultras. They are able to get some really good farm off onto this lifestealer. Top lane though, a big team fight could be breaking out. Gabby has a Chrono, wants to go in, but it looks like they have jumped initially onto KP. But there's your Chrono out. Armel has a Sonic Wave to throw and does get it out perfectly onto two heroes. And they'll chase down Jamesy now on this Underlord. They do not connect with the arrow. I'm not going to say Tim's missed though, John, because he didn't. Spear is going to be there, but KP does die to the Firestorm. The overall great team fight there for TNC. They do get a 2-for-1. KP dying right at the end of it. He won't mind too much though. 4k net worth leaders. Armel's still stalking Abat. Gets the bounty. No, he doesn't. Abat does pick it up.
Yeah, and they do manage to at least get that. But yeah, I believe Revenge is still level 4.
Eris kills off Gabby. All right.
Yeah, probably the chain stun coming into play. You've also got the corrosive haze up in Van, so Abat does so much more damage once he starts ripping through. Some key kills coming through, but still 3-10, 3k lead up here for TNC. They are building up on Abat really well. That's the Armlet done, being shipped out. They need some levels here in their support, so it's just a painful game for Grims. We're at the 10-minute mark. Mike still has to hit level 5 in Avenge. Without the swap, like, there's not much Grims can really do to set up for his team. Even when he's staying alone in the solo lane, Whitemon, level 7 on the Ench, just bullies him out.
Still, you do have the lifestealer farming very nicely. A bat, this game is going to be on his shoulders. So, the rest of TNC are just behind him in terms of net worth. Whitemon,
Yeah.
just look how annoying Whitemon's being. Look at him. He's just slowing Van for no particular reason, just slowing him down. Makes him chase a creep that he's never going to kill. And now he goes to the next neutral stack where there is only 2 creeps worth about 10 gold.
It's not a good time. They should be able to have it now with a corrosive haze, but slow.
No, Whitemon's just being annoying, John. This is why Whitemon Enchantress is picked up by TNC, because he could just keep doing this. And the time that he wastes for the enemy adds up. Now they get it, but it's on the bench. Like, Grim's got 60 gold. Congratulations. You know, it just doesn't matter.
Yep, really doesn't. And TNC now, they're just really taking control in that jungle. I mean, at least Grims is about to hit level 6, Mike. You know, 12 minutes in, a quarter of the way. That's progress there for Cignal. I'm looking at the blink timing for Van. It would be faster if he had some camps to play with, but he doesn't. So just good stalling out from TNC, and this is just stalling out the time when Cignal can actually play his 5.
Look at this, Tim's just probably going to arrow that creep. There you go. Leave the yellow one there. Get the tomato creep, the mid lane. Nice cookie, it looks like, into the Queen of Pain Armel. A bit overly confident there in that mid lane, not expecting the rotation out, but KB now with the Moonlight Shadow looking to try and make a play with the Arena and Spear around. Gabby gonna come in as well. The swap, but Gabby already understood, although another swap out. Gabby's gonna have his chrono wasted. Nice little play there from Grims.
Does manage to waste 2 big spells from TNC mid. That opens up an opportunity to push, and they should be able to get it done. No team fight spells in TNC, and they find an angle.
5-second arrow there onto the lifestealer. He's going to be alright though, there's going to be no follow-up to it. Looks like they just can't fight until Armel does make his way back into the fight, but it looks like Armel has gone top lane instead. Seems as though he does want to try and secure the Orchid before he gets any more involved. Another 5-second arrow on a bat, he's just copying all of them.
Yeah, it's, not much they can really do with that though, as they just keep focusing on the objective. They eventually find it. Here's Armel.
How's he going to initiate this fight though? They don't have the chrono. You need one or the other. Like, you do need the Arena or the chrono to start these fights off. He's just not going to waste his time. We'll go back to just farm up the Orchid. You do start to wonder now whether they are getting a bit concerned about a Bat's farm, because he is farming very, very quick on this lifestealer. He hasn't really been slowed down whatsoever. Mind you, a Bat hasn't really gotten involved in any kind of kills yet. He's literally 0-0 on 0. But so with this much farm coming out, could be a concern here for Gabby.
It could be. I think the one thing that is keeping TNC in a pretty good spot is that, you know, Gabby's farm isn't amazing, but he did go for a Midas play on the Faceless Void. So he's got steady farm to keep up, steady EXP to gain as well.
Well, spear missed by KB there, and now KB's going to get jumped on. Jamesy is out with the Firestorm. KB gets pitted metal stop, and he is going to die. Bit of a overly confident play from TNC, and it just doesn't pay off.
And that's actually a really costly death to give out. That's the Blink Dagger done for Van. So now you have proper initiation from Cignal, and they can start actually forcing fights out with a bat.
Whitemon gonna lose that creep over to a bat now, and there's your Infest. Dark Rift's gonna come into the mid lane. Jamesy just didn't have a TP off cooldown, so we'll just commit the ulti for it. Meanwhile, Van hopping that Guardian sprint. is not really going to have a target to go after yet. Nobody's showing on the map here from TNC. They'll just keep moving their way up towards that top lane where they do now just see Tim's. It's going to be the only option they have to go after. But Tim seems to be aware that something is awry and will just go for the leap TP. And Van, not going to try for the blind stun. Tims does make his way out.
So that's a lot of time committed from a bot to just stay infested. So it's time he's not farming, it's time he's not finding anything in TNC. Just with that simple stall out. 6k lead now on their side, 5 to 10, 16 minutes in. We talked about the timings of Cignal, Mike. They had to hit a bit of a lead here at the 15-minute mark. They're behind now. They can still play this draft. They really have to find an angle to come into to start to split up TNC. But TNC, they've got their ults up. They're smoked up.
The smoke up it is. See what they can get going. Cignal Ultra just hanging around in their triangle right now. So they'll feel pretty safe being around this area. Amel going to be the one to walk in first. Are they going to try? No, they can't sneak a Roshan. They're just going to hide in the pit, it seems, TNC. But Cignal, they've smoked up and they want to try and make a play of their own. Eris barely avoiding breaking the smoke there on the Mirana. Instead, they will see Whitemon. Jamesy going to start moving his way in with his new rod of ATOS, but the Moonlight Shadow's kicked in. They do have a sentry, but he's going to run out of range, and Gabby is around just in case. Now Van, there's the infest out. Gabby's going to be very cautious here as Van is looking to jump in. Might go after KP. No, they will go after Gabby, but a nice dodge out, and now KP gets the arena into the spear. The infest out from a bat. He'll go straight after that Mars and does take him out. Gabby, he holds on to the chrono, not willing to throw it out yet. And Cignal, they will be satisfied with that trade. Nobody lost on the Radiant side.
Yeah, it's a really big win. They're just constantly forcing KP to use this arena in awkward moments. They finally get their infest kill that they've been looking for. Not the biggest one in the world, but drops that lead down to just 5k. And Abbat is continuing to grow. I think TNC still holding on, still being rather cautious. They're waiting for the Manta to be up first on Gabby to get some additional damage out. And they've been sitting on this Orchid on Armeldo for quite a while. We tend to see Quaps look for those kills, and we tend to see Armel actually just play so aggressive with his item pickup, but it's been stalled out. I think we've got to see TNC start to use that a bit more to really widen the lead. Cignal, it does feel like they're finding so much more on the map. They're just playing as 5, they're sticking together, they know they're really big, they've got these heroes that are very hard to kill off until more items fly in. They're just going to look for safe objectives to take. They're looking down at that bot tier 1.
Nice easy tower here for Cignal Ultra as they do start to TP towards that. Where did they go? There you go, the mid lane. TNC. They will get the tier 1 tower. Whitemon does secure it, but here comes Van with the infested lifestealer. They want Gabby if they can afford to, but Whitemon's going to kind of cut them off first, so he'll be the sacrificial lamb. Still a nice little kill here. Onto Whitemon, and they will even find his creep with the Rod of Atos out from our Underlord. And while the 5k net worth lead is still there for TNC, it doesn't seem to be translating to anything.
No. It's truly just a stall out here for TNC. Like, they're growing bigger on Gabby and Armel. Bot still widens that lead though. He's 1k up ahead on the Face of Void, which isn't massive, but it does exist. And the biggest hurting point right now is the fact that KP is just really fallen off. And speaking of KP,
Rod of Atos is going to be juked out with the Moonlight Shadow and the TP away. He's going to be alright. But he is having a real struggle here in this game 1.
He's saving up for the ults, almost there with a recipe just left, but It's been a rather so-so Mars game. We talked about that from draft though. Like the Lifestealer just rips through. The Underlord, even with the Firestorm, punishes these HP scaling heroes. That just means KP is not as tanky as you'd hoped him to be. The Yules should help, but I think KP's got to get a BKB in this game just to prevent some of that magic damage coming through, especially that Firestorm here from James. He's just too much, although he does get arrowed.
Mid lane? They're not going to try and jump the Underlord. Like, he's too tanky and you have no idea where the rest of the Cignal Ultra are. And right now, they're smoked up. Rushing through, Van with the Guardian Sprint, going to spot out Armel, gets the blink off with the stun out, but Armel is able to blink away. Van, Sonic Wave, going to be committed, and now KP is in with the arena. Gabby jumps in with the Time Walk, going after that Lifestealer with a great Chrono out. The Mortimer's Kisses are there, but it looks like he will get through the two causes. Jamesy will pop the Dark Rift. They've lost Grims though. They're trying to get KP before they leave, but they don't get it in time. Great team fight out for TNC, and that's kind of what we were set to expect from TNC. They land everything perfectly and they just commit to the fight. It does work out.
It took a lot longer to execute, but it was well worth the wait, widening that lead to 9k. 7-13 now, 21, basically 22 minutes in. TNC are really just set to get that done every time. Like, he didn't have the perfect positioning there from the side of Cignal. They couldn't get Grims in for the swap, which is a really good Chrono coming out. The Kisses were damaging though, but not enough from Eris. There needs to be a little bit more coming into that Chrono as well to punish Gabby, and not quite the opening they want. And it's down to how slippery these heroes are. We saw Armel blink out. We've seen Gabby blink out of that initiation as well last time, and they're running a risky play here into the Roche.
They are. They're going to give it a shot. KP, he does have the arena back up, but they're going to try and get this done while the Chrono and Sonic Wave is down. TNC probably not going to be willing to let this go for free. They do have the BKB now up on Armel, so they want to try and make a play, but a great cookie art from our Snapfire. A Bat still just trying to focus down on that Roshan. KP gets the spear off, Gabby jumps in, but the Aegis has been snatched away from our Lifestealer, and Gabby needs a way out of this. KP holding them in with the arena. There's now Jamesy going to get infested, and he will just try for the TP play. Meanwhile, Armel getting a double kill, and Gabby getting the bashes off onto Jamesy. They'll just turn back around onto Gabby, however, he's been rooted up and he can't get out of there. He will go down. Armel now on the run, but no, he'll jump back in after the Underlord. KB does not get the spear off, so Bat will turn back around trying to go after this Mars, but gets arrowed to the face. Armel with the damage out, and a Bat looks like he will lose the Aegis. No arrow. They can't stun him up, but they will go for the silence, but a nice swap is there from Grims. That'll pretty much be it. Unless arrow doesn't land. However, Van does jump in after Armel. Stun duration is very low. And overall, even though they got the Roshan, it's still a successful team fight for TNC. And John, might I add, they got the Aegis, but the Roshan goal did go to TNC.
Yep, that makes that entire venture for Cignal practically pointless. Like, Aegis is just expended by a bot immediately anyway. They really forced out a funky fight. Like, again, you might not have had Chrono there on the side of TNC, no Sonic Wave as well. The arena was pretty, it was available for KP. They were still kind of jumping in. I do appreciate Jamesy's pit though. It was on the edge. It stalled out long enough to make that entire thing pretty scary for TNC, but they make it work. And Cignal have to be cautious. They do have some really good tools here to handle Gabby. There's a Heaven's Halberd up on a bot, and they can get the grip on the Faceless Void. It's just that it takes him a bit too long to fully focus on Gabby, and with these spells back up, TNC just smoke up.
Yeah, they want to go for a big team fight. Off we go, Gabby in front. Single file here from TNC. Oh, bad. They're not going to break the smoke. It's a Moonlight Shadow. Gabby still having Chrono. Does get one off, but it is only onto Armel. His own teammate getting Chronoed up. They do at least have the arena, so they will just focus in on trying to get rid of the Slana. Van, he is still very tanky, however. Armel will commit the Sonic Wave, but the Infest is going to be there from a bat to save Van's life, and his own for that matter. Had that Sonic Wave hit onto both of them, they probably would have both been dead. But a bat will save the day, and nobody will die.
It's a really big play coming out from a bat, just on the edge with that infest, and it's their turn to smoke up. They know these spells are down. It's an opportunity for Cignal.
They're gonna maybe run into Tim's here. He will break the smoke. Arrow to scout, but they know exactly where he is. He'll try to leap away.
What?
Tims uses all his leap charges. The bat still chasing. One more would do it. Tims, he does go down. They do at least get the Marana, and Gabby will also get spotted out here by Van, but he did not have the blink off cooldown. Instead, Cignal, they'll focus in on that mid tier 2. TNC, they will push the bottom and the top waves, and towers for that matter, while they are taking this mid tier 2 tower.
Yeah, they're going to try to make it as punishing as possible. You do not have Chrono for a bit longer, but you have Arena if you want to try and play here. The pit is going to make this harder.
But he just takes these towers so quick with that Deso on this Lifestealer. It's a very hard team fight to try and take without that Chrono or Sonic Wave. They won't bother trying, but the tier 3 tower will be left standing as Cignal don't want to risk too much. It is still a massive net worth lead for TNC, so although they are seemingly taking the advantage in this game, it is nowhere near their way in terms of that net worth.
No, definitely not. 9-17 as well on the kill board, 27 minutes in. They do have some time to farm up some neutrals. You would have loved that Orb of Destruction for a bot, but that does go the way of TNC, so you're going to have a little bit more damage coming through here if anyone did want to use that. Cignal right now is still waiting on perhaps a few more spikes, like a bot saving up for an Assault Curious, still ways off from that. The Lotus Orb for Jamesy is going to be the big one. Just having that Purge on the Orchid, kind of preventing the stuns from really holding people down, is going to save a lot of lives. And we're already seeing issues from TNC to get the burst damage off. Like, they need more damage items to fly in. The tankiness of Cignal is still there. Like, they've got 3 very tanky strength cores that just keep staying alive for too long. And TNC right now have to absolutely hammer in the Chronos. So much pressure on Gabby to get 2 heroes in there and find a follow-up with Armel. Armel cannot get caught in. The MKB is going to help, but they've already lost their tier 2 bot.
They have. Bat gonna find a very, very nice Titan Slither for himself. Gonna be very useful, but Moonlight Shadow gonna end up spotting out Eris. So they do get the Snapfire kill. Nice pick up there, and they're gonna go after that tier 1 mid tower, which is still standing here for TNC, or rather for Cignal Ultra. Into the mid tier 2 tower it is for TNC. I doubt they'll fully commit for this. It is going to be a bit tough into that Firestorm of the Unlord. They don't really know where Cignal Ultra are right now. Truth is, they're currently farming the Dire Triangle. They just never know.
It's getting fairly close to a bot's AC. It's been that long that he just lacks the gold. So you're going to have to worry about the Assault Curious being a real factor here in these fights, adding on to that durability that we've already seen from Cignal's draft. TNC, they need this BKB up on Gabby just to ensure that the kisses aren't going to bother him, just to ensure that the Firestorm's not going to bother him. Is saving up for it. Still all 3 parts off, only has 1.3 in the bank. So a little bit more patience from TNC there in that build-up. They will have this Shiva stun on Armel soon, though. Just about 200 gold off. It's going to help Armel find a burst and prevent the healing that comes through here for Cignal. Just having at least a little reduction on the Shivas on that heal is going to help massively up against how tanky Cignal is right now.
KB being caught out here, Van, a nice blink stun. Does have the spear and does get it off onto the Slardar, and does even commit the arena here just to try and run away. But there's your run of Atos, so he'll Yule's up, trying to waste as much time as possible. Cignal Ultra will eventually pick him up. TNC are pretty much unable to get any form of a trade.
Spoil that shot.
They will just spend the time farming for themselves. I say that, but you look at a bat, he is still top of the net worth board by a mile. He's at 17.5k now. And while they've got a 13k net worth lead on TNC, it seems as though a bat being this farmed is more than enough to just keep them into this game.
Yeah, I think it's more of the fact that Underlord doesn't need a supreme amount of farm to be effective, neither does a Slardar. So even if these two other cores are kind of scuffed in farm, you're still getting a lot more here just because they get the job done. They just stand in front, throw their bodies out, force TNC to really try to find angles, and there's a damage issue here for Gabby. Like, the MKBs, it really helps, but he needs a BKB. He does have just one part left, so that's about 300 gold away. Once you have this BKB up in Gabby, maybe look for those opportunities. They are losing objectives across the map. Top tower being pressured here by a bot. That's the last outer tower of TNC, and that's going to make it harder for them to make moves outside once it drops.
KB going to show himself. No, Rage is going to be there from a bat, so he will not get the spear off, and a nice Dark Rift away from Cignal Ultra. Not willing to risk anything. It's still just kind of... I know you've explained why, but it's kind of ridiculous to me that 14k net worth ahead and they just can't defend these tier 2 towers. Still, a bat is continuing to be a huge problem here for TNC. As now they do start with a team fight. Armel going to go on to Jamesy. Gabby is going to go into the backlines for a really nice chrono, but he has not got the life stealer nor the Slardar. He's focusing in on those supports, but while he's doing that, the rest of his team is struggling to try and survive. A bat will turn around now onto that Void. Now he'll turn back onto KB. He wants the Mars first, and he might just get him with these Mortimer's Kisses. They do indeed secure the Mars kill. And Gabby, he doesn't really have much of a choice in the matter. He has to kill off the supports. Otherwise, he can't really enjoy his chrono.
Yeah, it's the right play from Gabby. I think where it really falls apart is the fact that they can't handle the cores right now on the side of TNC. Like, they need Gabby to really just do everything for them. And KP just can't actually do anything. Like, the pressure's all on that Faceless Void. Your follow-up on the Morris to split off this fight is just not great. He still melts to a bat. We're not seeing progression here for KP. He does have the plate mail, saving up for the Lotus, but even then, that's not going to fix their issues. Even Armel just can't stand and fight, even with his BKB. So high ground just absolutely melts, as you mentioned. A bot just tears right through with a Deso, and they just retreat. It's just that simple.
Off we go. Up towards that top lane. They just want to get started on pushing out that top wave. Roshan's up as well. They did scout it out with the courier, so they'll be able to surely just pick that one up, although Arrow is going to fly through, but it does connect on to the Roshan. White one now going to show up with Mel. They are just in the nick of time. Gabby jumps in. Aegis on the deck. Gabby, he does manage to pick it up. A great Sonic Wave out from Mel, buying the time. But can he fight this one out without a chrono? He's going to give it a shot onto Grims. Grims is going to die. Mel, meanwhile, taking care of Eris. And now KB gets a great arena into the spear, onto a bat. He's trying to fight back. He'll go for the TP play. Do they have the damage in time? No. They do not. A bat will survive, but they've got the Aegis. They get 2 support kills with no buybacks available. And now they will run down towards that mid-tier 2 tower.
Yeah, it's a big win for Cignal. They also managed to force the cheese usage here from a bot. So he snagged the cheese, forced to immediately pop it. Second life on Gabby's going to be big. We're going to see a chrono up in a very short time as well. This is just perfect timing from TNC to try to turn it around. When this objective falls, a lot of pressure here on Cignal to defend the high ground, but it's an Underlord. You know, shoving high ground against this here is fairly challenging.
Oh, look. Oh boy, that's a lot of damage. Gabby was there for a second. He'll come back now with the Aegis. They'll go after Grims. He commits the chrono, but he's been disarmed. He'll use the Mantle Illusions instead to take care of it, as now the arena and the spear is there onto Jamesy. They'll get another van. Just melts to the damage of Gabby. He's just bashing out of control now, apparently. Gabby will get the tier 3 mid tower, and with a 19k net worth lead. They're looking good, but Van, he's going to jump in once again with the buyback. A bat will go after KP. They do get the kill into the Mars. Now the disarm again onto Gabby. He can't fight back, but now he can. A bat may have gone too far. He can't afford to die back like this. He's dropping low. He does go down, and TNC, they may have pulled off, I don't want to say comeback, because they have been ahead in net worth this whole game, but it looks like they may have pulled off the win.
Yeah, it's been really close. They do find the first racks. Not out of it yet, but that respawn on About is way too long. About it is gonna line up with the Slaughter though, but I do see these racks falling. We'll see if they can hold out. There is no chrono for a minute and a half, so by the time these respawns hit, it's still 30 seconds away from the chrono, but they're not gonna be able to stop this racks. Just cautious play here.
There's no way you back off.
No.
There's no way
definitely
TNC
not.
backs. Like, you just get megas and you... They could try to defend if they want, but it's not going to look good for Cignal Ultra. There you go, there's the GG call. They kind of realize we're not going to make it in time. We'll go to game number 2. TNC, they do successfully manage to pick up game number 1 here. Pretty entertaining game though, I must say, John. It was a lot closer than you would have first expected.
Definitely was. Real big props to Cignal. It looked rocky at the start. They did have a game plan in mind. Like, they had very sacrificial cores in the mid and off. Jamesy and Van just took the back seat. It became the Abat show. They did manage to build up a ton of the Lifestealer, enough that TNC was just feeling very cautious. But in the end, you know, it's a Faceless Void with Chrono. Once you land one big one, really opens it up for your side. And there's only so much you could expect Abat to really carry through. So big props though. Cignal performed pretty well considering how that back and forth worked out. We'll see if they can pull an upset in game number 2 or if TNC continues that streak over Cignal Ultra here.
With that, it is MLP Dota and johnxfire, and we'll be 10 minutes before we do get that game 2 draft underway. We'll see you again very soon.